I'm going to talk today about the GitLab CEO Shadow Program, which I just completed my 2-week stint in. It was very exciting and I learned quite a bit. First, I'm going to talk about the what. So what was it is attended about 10 to 12 meetings a day, shadowing Sid and with my co-CEO shadows. It's a combination on one-on-ones with directs, group sessions that we're all invited to, key meetings to discuss where a department is and where that department is going and plans, etc. Meetings with customers, with investors, and also listening in on media interviews. And then also non-GitLab meetings, so with other companies, with nonprofits, etc. During the 2-week period, I was involved with either the author of or collaborated on about 25 merge requests. And half of them were on Sid's request, where he saw some opportunity for us to improve something and asked the shadows to take care of the details. And also the other half were from myself and my co-CEO shadows on things based on what we observed to do overall improvements. Sid will ask for feedback. How did I do on this, or could I have done something better on that? And that was great opportunity to be able to give him that feedback. There was also an opportunity where we were talking to an investor or potential investor, and they asked a question about my area, security, and Sid could see me smiling with a big smile, knowing that I knew that area, and he turned it over to me to talk about my experiences in that area, and that was a great opportunity to have. And the other little thing I noted is it's very important. You're going to be learning a lot of things and that you may not be aware of or know the details, acronyms, concepts, etc. Because you'll be exposed to everything that goes across the company, goes on across the company. So it's important to make your notes accurate more than thorough. So don't try to get everything when you're writing notes. Just make sure the notes you write are accurate. So why the CEO Shadow Program? I'd say the first reason why, in my opinion, is seeing the values in action. Just learning the values and living them yourself are very important, but seeing them, especially with Sid and his directs, the E group, it's really, really interesting to see how they operate on a day-to-day basis and how they use the values to do that. You also get to learn the why from Sid and the E group and others. So why are things in their current state? How are decisions made, and why are those decisions made, which are very, very interesting to me and educational. Also, understanding what's more versus less important. The handbook is enormous, as we all know. What portions of it? I got a better feel for what portions of it are more important versus less important. I've actually got a merge request idea to make that, so that's something that we can know about and keep in mind long term, which I haven't done yet, but I'm going to iteratively. And personally for me, I also understand the GTM, the go-to-market strategy, much, much better now, and how it impacts how we make decisions and how those decisions impact engineering priorities, for example. So that was very interesting to me. So in terms of the values, something that was said in a discussion about how GitLab is successful with our values and of transparency and where everybody works remotely, et cetera, is that you can't train people on a culture. You just can't do it. You have to live it to learn it. Those are my own words, but that's how I interpret it. So I'm going to write a blog entry, but some of the highlights on the values. So on the value of results, our high merge request rate is a competitive differentiator. Our competitors can't release new features nearly as fast as we can, and that is some of our secret sauce. Efficiency. I always did this, but I saw it in more stringently done is in meetings, read presentations and related documents before going to a meeting. If they're not available for a meeting, encourage the person who organized it to actually delay the meeting so they can publish it in advance and let people put in a shared notes document their questions and comments, and that's what should be discussed in the meeting. Perhaps an overview of the presentation, but the meeting should not be to go through a document, but to take questions and discuss the document. In terms of diversity and inclusion and belonging, it's very interesting, is a candidate was being interviewed by our CEO, and the scheduled meeting time was over. And Sid asked, well, do you want to keep on talking? Do you have something else going on? We can schedule for something next week. And, a candidate tries to be very defer to the interviewer, of course. And the candidate said, well, I've got, my kids at home, and I've got their friends are over. And you know what, I'd actually kind of rather not, but I can if you want me to, or I'd be happy to. And, the way that was interpreted is, this candidate is willing to do it, but no, it makes more sense to prioritize friends and family first, not only for team members, but also for others, for candidates. And they decided to talk the week after to prioritize family over work. And I think that was really interesting and neat to see. In terms of iteration, heard a number of times over the 2 weeks, we as a company, we as GitLab team members are calibrated for change, So things are going to change often. We're very iterative and based on what our customers need, the great ideas that we have to implement, and what our competitors are doing, et cetera. So change is going to happen often. Be ready for it and be ready to consume it and start it yourself. And just know that that is how we operate, and it's one of our competitive advantages as well, which was really great to see in action. And lastly, transparency. So the handbook is used to show not only customers and partners and investors and the public the current state and future plans of the product. That we don't use slides to talk to investors or customers, et cetera. We use the handbook. And it was really jumped out at me, and I saw, this is how we operate. So making sure the handbook, that's why we prioritize the handbook so much. It's not only how we communicate to each other on values, on processes, on how we do what we do and what we're doing, et cetera, but also it's how we show it to customers and prospects, et cetera. And it's really interesting to see. So I'm going to work on a blog entry to go into more detail on these and other things, but I wanted to give a quick overview to start. So thank you.